Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. Okay, I'm making basically another Alabama lottery video. I've made a few in the past, especially when I would hear that they were uh, creating new bills for us to have the right to vote on a lottery in this state. Um, as some of you may or may not know, Alabama does not currently have a lottery. And many, as the years have went by, more and more people want a lottery, way more than before, because a lot of people have seen that other states are benefiting from having a lottery, and meanwhile our state is left behind. And a lot of people like to play the lottery. They have to go to other states just to play. And, some of them are actually winning stuff in these other states and all that. And so, why can't we get one in this state? That's the big question. And what's irritating is every time they bring it up, number one, a lot of them will drag their feet, okay? And number two, when it finally makes it, say, from the House to the Senate, uh, then it dies, and it's just so frustrating for people to to get their hopes up and to go through all that and then have them bicker over it. And what gets me is the last time it came up in a big way, the very people that brought up the bill to get it pushed through were the very people who helped vote it down when it finally made it to its last leg. And that really, I think, upset many people of this state. And they fought over the stupidest, silliest little details about the bill. And it just, it just makes you wonder, what the heck's going on. Some people believe that maybe, now this is just rumor, that maybe the some high officials in the Porch Creek Indians may have something to do with that. But I mean, that's just hearsay, and I don't like accusing anybody of anything. So I mean, that's just hearsay, okay? And you know how rumors are, okay? Um, but I will say this, that the Porch Creek Indians do have a political pull. Even though they are, they have their own reservation and they have their casinos and gambling operations on those reservations, but you do have to use reality and understand that when any group of people over time, when you get money and you become rich, and people have the people that are over the reservation and all that, they're making a lot of money because a lot of people like to gamble, especially casino style. So they're making a lot of money, and therefore they can have a lot of pull. uh, they can have influence. Okay, let's just say that the possibility is definitely there. Now, whether or not they chose to do any of that, that's speculation. Okay. But the thing is years ago, a long time ago, Alabama signed a pact with the Porch Creek Indians to allow them to have their casinos and gambling operations on the reservation, and they would not be taxed and all that stuff, okay? But here's the thing. Now, anytime Alabama tries to get a lottery, though, they do kick up about it and they do have a problem with it. And the thing is, if when we do get it, the governor will have to do come to an agreement with them about. Uh, I'm assuming now that this is just from what I read in the wording of some of these bills, that they would have to negotiate for them to allow our tickets, say lottery tickets or whatever, to be sold on their reservations, as well as, I guess, anything to do with any other type of gambling activity. Uh, that's in or around where they, excuse me, have their reservations or whatever. So, I mean, that's just my understanding of it. I know it's probably more complicated than that, but I just, it's beyond my comprehension. Let's put it that way. And of course, I'm no lawyer, I'm no politician. Therefore, even these bills, there's wording in these bills that I do not understand. Um, that, other people will definitely know more than I do. I'm just a regular person, just reading these bills, okay? And so far, as of right now, there's a House member who is in Alabama who is pushing through two bills, and they're separate bills, but it's basically connected because one of the bills has to do with the operations. Well, it has to do with how it's going to come about, like the funding for it and all that, where the money's going to come from, okay? And then the other bill has to deal with what it actually encompasses, and which both of them say what it encompasses, but it actually has to do with how they're going to appoint and uh, pay to have people on the boards, and to the hirings and all that type of thing, how all that's going to come about, and how what the penalties are for people that break the new law and all that stuff in regards to that, and how the actual um, lottery is going to be done. Okay, and here's the thing: these two right here are a lottery style gambling only. Okay, in other words, this representative is saying that it doesn't have to do with casinos or anything like that. It is a stand-alone uh, lottery type bill. Okay, but then this other bill that's from Senator Coleman in the Senate has to do with allowing for casinos and other type sports and other types of gambling mixed in with it. Okay, so it's two different things trying to get pushed through. Okay, all right. So let's start with this one, like 448. All right, on the bill 448, as you can read through here. Okay, if one wants to do that, you can go to the Alabama legislature website and you can find these bills. Okay, all right. And one thing that kind of stands out to me is, let's see. Okay, is the part where it's going to be funded. Like this lottery standalone bill, okay, that only encompasses a draw style and a scratch off lottery. This person is proposing that this be paid, started off being paid for, but with our education fund. Okay, so that's where the money will initially be pulled from in order to start this off. But once it gets established, then it will start paying back. So this money is not just going to be taken away and there's nothing going back to fill in the hole. No, it's going to be paid back. It's like a loan. Okay, so for people who would get worried if they saw this in the beginning part of the bill, as you go on through it, it will explain that it's going to get paid back. It's just a starter loan, so to speak. Okay, so that's pretty much what this bill is about. Um, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, and of course, I think it briefly mentions about the agreement with the Porch Creek Indians, which the governor will have to do once this gets passed. Okay, so this can get passed without an agreement, but it says that the governor will have to come to an agreement. Okay, in order for it to work fully. Okay. All right, and this bill, these two bills, let me show you, is being proposed by Representative Philip Ensler, if I pronounced his name correctly. I hope I did. And it shows here where right here, HB 448 and HB 449, and this is where he, is pushing that through. He's on the committees for that, okay? And I believe it's the tourism committee, okay, that this is stemming from. And let's see here. All right. Um, okay. Gaming. Subject is gaming right here on this. And yeah, economic is the Committee of Economic Development and Tourism. Okay, yeah, I had that right. And then in the Senate, it just says tourism as for her. And let me go to her. Okay, she is Senator Marika Coleman. Okay, and if you go to her thing and you type in SB, and I think it's, let me look back, it's 257, SB 257, okay, and you can see where she's put it through right there, okay, and she's from Jefferson County, and there's two Senator Colemans in that county, but it's Senator Marika Coleman that is pushing for this bill, okay. All right, in her bill, which let me finish showing this other first, okay. Let's see. All right, let me go back to the House bills, okay. The HB 449 has to do with how, like I said, how they're going to appoint everybody and get it all up and running, and then what the penalties are if you are caught in any way, like breaking the law in regards to this. Um, and let's see here. Uh, and it's talking about, the point of sale and all that type of stuff. So it's just a lot of jargon in regards to that stuff. And I believe, let me go back up here. I believe this is the bill that talks about where the money is going to go as far as the proceeds. Let me go back up here. I hope that. And also, I would like to say that these bills do not include bingo. Like, it's just strictly the draw style and scratch off for the House bill, okay? All right. Okay, right here is where it talks about where the money, the proceeds are going to go, okay, after they pay their overhead cost and all that, okay? All right. The first thing is to address gambling addiction. They're going to set up treatment for that, okay? Then they're going to establish post-secondary scholarship programs for public 2-year community and technical colleges and 4-year public institutions of higher education. Okay. The third thing is to provide cost of living raises and other benefits for active public education employees and bonuses for retired education employees, and to award grants for hospitals and to assist in their operations and prevent their closure, which is good, and to provide tax credits to eligible residents of the state as determined by the legislature. Now, I don't know what that last one is. I don't know if they're going to, like, if you have children, if you're going to get an extra tax credit, or if you make a certain amount. I don't know. I have no clue as to what that's kind of vague. So I guess if this passes, I guess we'll find out maybe. All right, so now let's go to the Senate bill, okay? All right, and this has to do with not only allowing for the scratch off and the draw style, this one also allows for casino games, as long as you're playing them on the premises of a licensed gaming establishment. Sports wagering activities conducted in person or through the internet. Okay, so you will be allowed to bet on sporting events. Okay, for any other kind of gaming activity, if approved by a vote of 3/5 of all members elected to each house. Whoops, let me go down. of legislature taken by roll call vote and entered upon the journals thereof. Okay, so that's pretty much what. So this is going to be one of those, just like the last few, that encompass all that. And again, they'll have to do a thing where they'll make it to where the governor will have to come to an agreement with the Porch Creek Indians. So that's pretty much what that is. And then also it kind of talks about how I guess it will be like a yes or no type thing, vote when you go to vote, um, all that. So that's pretty much what that's about. Now, if you want my opinion, I think probably the one that's popping up in the House will have a better chance of being approved, because there seems to be a lot of throwback when it comes to the casinos and the sports and all that mess. I noticed the last time they were, people were kicking up about this and kicking up about that, and they just kept picking it apart, and it all had to do with the whole casino and sporting uh, type stuff, and it was just ridiculous. I feel like we need to just start off with a standalone um, lottery style or draw style scratch off bill. I think, then the other can come later. Like if this is successful and, everybody likes it, then they may can incorporate the other. But I just feel like, in my opinion, that this would have the best chance to get pushed through. And especially if it's going to help hospitals and all that. Now, I've had ideas in the past, and one of them had to do with setting Alabamians up with like a card with a certain amount of money on it to be used strictly for medical costs, and maybe prescriptions and stuff like that. But that was just my little silly little idea or whatever. Even though I think it was a pretty good idea, but maybe what they're coming up with is better, especially if it just straight up just tries to save hospitals and medical institutions. I think that's great. And that probably would be maybe a better way of doing it. Okay. But either way, like I would be happy if any one of these gets passed. It don't matter to me. But my interest would be with the draw style and scratch off lottery. I don't really care about casinos. Not that I wouldn't, and I have visited casinos in Tunica before, and I wasn't too thrilled or impressed with that. It just wasn't really, thrilling to me. I mean, I'd heard about it and I was kind of excited, but when I went, it just, I don't know. I saw how hard it was just to start. If you're starting off with a small amount of money, how hard it is to build yourself up in those games. So, yeah, it just, but don't get me wrong. If I happen to be in an area where there's a casino, it wouldn't bother me any to go and, to play or whatever. But I just wouldn't waste too much money there personally. Because there's no way I'm no high, I'm any kind of high roller or anything like that. So, but anyway, but I did want to make this video since I am kind of excited about this popping up again, because the last time this stuff happened, the governor got so mad that she said that she wasn't even going to try to fool with it, because there was so much bickering, and she felt like it would be a waste of time, because I mean it was down to the wire with them fussing and arguing, and she didn't want to continue that any longer. And so, but I'm hoping that this time, that whether it's her, because I know her time in office is starting to run out. So whether it be her or a new governor or whatever, by the time this finally makes it to the desk, I hope it gets signed. I hope that they do come together and they do agree upon it and they get it passed, because it's about time. I mean, I'm just, like a lot of people, I'm sick of having to go to other states. Not, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fun little trip, to the Tennessee line or Mississippi line or whatever, but still, it would just be nice to just be able to go to any store in my state and, if I have an extra dollar or two, just to buy me a lottery ticket and just, dream or whatever, Um, so I just feel like it's time. Why not? Give some people in this state a little bit more hope and everything. So a little more excitement in a good way. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring this to everybody's attention that, it's starting up. And so we'll just see how it goes. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.